The fourth episode of the amazing digital circus primarily focused on Gangle, but we also got an unexpected look into Jax's character. His reactions to the events of the episode showed us a side of him we hadn't seen before. In this context, Gooseworks' statement on Tumblr, calling Jax a deeply troubled individual, makes perfect sense. Jax seemed completely broken in this episode, and today I want to explain why. One of the first moments that stood out to me was right at the beginning, when Jax accidentally broke Gangle's mask. His immediate response was different from his usual behavior. He quickly said, "I didn't mean to." And unlike his usual sarcastic remarks this time, he sounded sincere. But this moment of honesty was brief, and before long he was back to his usual antics. For example, when he teased Pomni about the unicorn horn, it felt more like an ongoing inside joke than an actual insult. But things took a turn when Kane read Jax's adventure suggestion.
How about an adventure where Zooble gets turned into a piñata and we all take turns beating them up?
Zooble immediately responded,
That one's mine.
Who would have guessed?
"We already expect Jax to act like this, mocking others and making cruel jokes, but his behavior throughout the episode still managed to be surprising." Jax's realization: actions have consequences. The fast food adventure wasn't ideal for Jax, and we could see how much he hated it. But something that changed the course of the episode was when Gangle called Kane after Jax dropped Regatha into the deep fryer. She insisted that members of the circus should be punished if they don't behave properly. If you look at Jax's expression, you can tell that he wasn't expecting this. We know that characters in the digital circus can't die in the traditional sense, meaning they can act recklessly without real-world consequences. However, they still experience pain, as we saw when Zooble burned their hand. But what shocked Jax wasn't just the idea of punishment. It was realizing that their actions still mattered. Jax likely never considered that pain, suffering, and even discipline could be part of their reality in the circus. Seeing Gangle so resolute in her stance, and witnessing Ragatha endure 53 seconds in burning oil, left him speechless. This moment might have triggered something in Jax, reminding him of something from his past. Either way, this scene and Gangle's decisiveness completely threw him off. Jax's control starts slipping. A key moment in the episode was when Jax said he disliked Orbsman. Gangle immediately shut him down, saying,
Oh, I hate this guy.
Never say you hate the customer while the customer is still here. We wait until after hours for that.
This is when we see another shift in Jax's demeanor. Normally, Gangle avoids disagreeing with him, let alone talking back. But here, she stands her ground. For the first time, Jax doesn't know how to respond. His usual comfort zone, being in control of every situation, is slipping away. Soon after, we see him attempt to talk to Zooble, much like he did with Pomni at the end of episode 3. Back then, he tried to talk to Pomni about Kinger, calling him crazy. Now he likely wanted Zooble to validate his feelings and support his defiance against Gangle. This is the second time we've seen Jax looking for validation. Despite his cruel and sarcastic attitude, he still seems to care about how others perceive him. This complicates his character. On the surface, he has a careless persona, even wearing a name tag that says, "I don't care." But deep down, he seems to care a lot. He just doesn't know how to process or express these emotions, and they terrify him. Jax's fear of vulnerability. One of the most telling moments in the episode is when Jax says,
Nobody can see this, right?
he isn't afraid of getting hurt. He isn't afraid of punishment. What truly scares Jax is other people seeing him in a vulnerable moment. His need to appear untouchable is so strong that even the possibility of being seen as weak makes him panic. After this, he returns to the group visibly frustrated. It's as if he's lashing out at others simply to suppress his own emotions. He's realizing that the other circus members are just as broken as he is, and for the first time, he isn't mocking them for it. At this point, he's not even trying to be mean. He just seems exhausted, and not just from the work shift. He looks drained, as if the weight of his time in the circus is finally catching up to him. The Ragatha conversation in Jax's breaking point One of the most crucial conversations in the episode happens when Ragatha tells Jax,
Move.
Yo, Jax. I, hate you, but I don't want you to hate me. Is that weird?
Many viewers initially thought Ragatha was flirting with Jax in this scene, but I don't think that's the case. It's more about their personalities. Both of them care deeply about how others see them, but in different ways. Ragatha tries to maintain a positive and kind persona, always being the helpful optimist. Jax, on the other hand, works hard to make sure no one gets close to him. He actively wants people to think he's a jerk because it helps him keep his distance and avoid emotional attachment. But this is the first time someone has openly admitted they don't want his hate. And for once, Jax doesn't have anything cruel or sarcastic to say in response. Pomni and Jax's potential future connection. Near the end of the episode, Jax actually tries to open up to Pomni. He asks her a genuine question, but she doesn't trust him and gives a dismissive response. Then when he tells her he isn't okay, she clearly doesn't know how to react. This moment is incredibly significant because Jax chose Pomni to open up to. He could have spoken to anyone, but he went to her. Maybe because she's the newest member and hasn't formed a solid opinion about him yet. Maybe because he sees her as an outsider, much like himself. Either way, this moment could be setting up something important for episode 6, which is expected to focus on Jax. Jax's final scene, his real self. The last major moment of the episode is when Jax walks out of work. He puts on his usual smug smile, pretending everything is fine. But the moment he steps outside, we see the truth. He looks miserable. This isn't the first time we've seen him like this. Back in episode 2, there was a scene where he sat alone, looking just as broken. Now in episode 4, we see it again. Jax works hard to maintain his fake persona, but it's clear that the cracks are showing. What's next for Jax? It's hard not to feel some sympathy for Jax after this episode. Even if he doesn't change or learn from his experiences, we now see that his cruel behavior stems from something much deeper: fear, insecurity, and a desperate need to keep people at arm's length. Gooseworks even said that Jax deserves to be in the circus the most, and that he's a pathetic loser whom everyone hates. This tells us that there's still a lot left to uncover about him. Maybe in episode 6, we'll finally learn who he was before the circus. Maybe Kinger or Ragatha will reflect on the time Jax first arrived and reveal what kind of person he used to be. For now, all we can do is wait and speculate. What do you think? Was Jax's behavior in episode 4 a sign of hidden kindness, or was he just having an off day? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.